David Soucy is a former FAA safety inspector and a CNN safety analyst. David's with me now. So, I mean, you have a plan, you put it forward. The best of plans are useless if they're not executed properly. So is that what the FAA is really going to be looking at?
Yeah, it is, Richard. But again, the FAA before has done this sort of thing, and they look at it as a project. And they have to get out of that mindset. A project has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's not what they need to do here. That's not a fix. It's a systematic change. It's systemic. Everything has to be looked at as a big program that they do that doesn't just go away. And we'll have to see if they can actually pull that off.
I sort of love the way the FAA is delving into Boeing's plan as if sort of their hands are clean. I mean, they were, I think the phrase, asleep at the switch. They didn't notice that Boeing had gone awry.
It makes no sense at all to me, Richard. It's kind of like a bait and switch here. The FAA did not do their job. They didn't do everything they were supposed to do after the 2X air crashes. So now they're coming back in saying, oh, well, Boeing, what are you going to do about it? Well, what's the FAA going to do about it? This plan is great. Let's put it in. But let's see what the FAA is going to do. Now,
we know over decades that Boeing makes excellent planes. Safe, comfortable, profitable, there are very few problems. So the trick and test here is how they get back to that.
Yeah, that is it, Richard. And I think, to me, what I see in the plan, and I just received another update on that plan from Boeing this afternoon, just before talking with you, and it looks like they really have a motivation. They really are going to do things differently now. But then it gets back to the safety culture idea. How do you measure a safety culture? Yeah, it's not by how many accidents you have.
But David, what can you, I mean, you obviously know more about the plan. You've seen versions of it. What can they put in it? I mean, that's not the obvious and you would expect, but then the way in which it can be monitored. Let's take the plug door, for example. Who removed the plugs, why they weren't replaced, and why there was no decent paper record that told everybody about it, to the point where Boeing had to admit to Congress that they didn't know.
Yeah, you have to go back to the causal factor, Richard, and in that case of the door plug, as well as others, that started at some singular point. And that singular point has to do with the quality of the parts coming in. And you can't just say, hey, we're going to expect every part coming in to be perfect. It's not that way. Now, here's the rub. Here's what they're doing different. They're not just going to say, okay, we're going to allow this part to come in, and if it's wrong, we're going to try to fix it on site. They're not going to do it that anymore. They're done with that. It's a black and white. It either meets our requirements and we're going to use it, or it does not, and we're going to send it back. That's the fine line. Right. That's the black and white that they're saying they're going to do, and that will make a huge impact and will stop all of these things from happening, in my mind.
It's fortuitous that we're talking to you tonight, because next week I'll be in Dubai, where IATA, the aviation organization for the airlines, is holding its annual meeting. And safety is very much, of course, as always, on their minds. We've had the Singapore turbulence, we had the Qatar turbulence. Do you think there needs to be some reviews here?
Yes, there does. And I think IATA has to be the catalyst behind the new technology, this infrasonic technology that allows us to see what's going on with turbulence specifically. That should be one of their top things that they're looking at, is how do we implement this? We now have the capability to see what's going on in that air ahead of us, and we need to do that. There's people being injured and even killed in these high turbulence issues.
David Soucy, it is always good to see you, sir. I'm grateful. Thank you.